Thank you guys for showing up today. So today in the Parents Forum, it's going to be led by myself. My name is Heather, this is Jessie, and this is Sega. And we are part of the Triangle Women in STEM outreach team. And so our goal is to expose young women to STEM and get them excited about it, and also tell you guys about it. And so we're going to do that with 3 sessions. And so our first session will be How to Raise a Confident Girl, led by Jessie. Our second session will be a college student panel that'll be run by me. So we'll have graduate students and undergraduates talk about how they've gotten to their STEM or education, and you guys can ask them questions. And we're also going to have a STEM education panel ran by Sega. And the way we're going to run this, we'll have everybody introduce themselves, we'll ask them a couple intro questions, but we really want you guys to ask them questions because we're here to help you do the best that you can to help your girls get to a career in STEM if they're interested in that. So I'm going to turn it over to Jessie to start.
Thank you so much. So my name is Jessie Tenenbaum. I'm a faculty member here at Duke, and I just a week and a half ago started a job with the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services as the Chief Data Officer. It doesn't quite roll off the tongue yet, but I'll get it. I was very much excited to have kids and to raise a strong young woman in STEM, and then I had twin boys, and so I'm no expert on STEM at all, which is why I brought in some external experts. I will use that opportunity to say there's 2 sides to this, that we want to raise our young women in STEM to be confident girls. We can also raise our boys to be allies, so that's just a part of it. So I'm going to be leading the How to Raise a Confident Girl panel. We have 2 experts in the topic, Marlee Krieger and Logan. Come on over if you want to go here and we can present it this way. So I am not the main attraction, nor as I said an expert, so I'm going to turn it over to our panelists.
Thanks, Jessie. I just wanted to start by thanking you all for being here. I know you're dedicating your Saturday morning and waking your kids up very early when you're probably asleep, so we appreciate that. It was a great showing, and hopefully at the end of this you will have received something beneficial to your lives, but also to the lives of your daughters. So my name is Marlee Krieger, as Jessie mentioned. I've worked at Duke for 13 years now. I am a woman in STEM, and I also have a daughter who's not interested in STEM, but that's fine. But what I do here on campus is I work in a traditional research lab. It's an engineering lab, and we develop technologies to improve the lives of women around the globe. But then we also use those technologies to educate and empower women. So we're trying to do both, innovation and also education. Specifically, I have 2 programs that I direct here at Duke. One is in Orange County, California. It's through a mechanism called Duke Engage, where students are able to learn through service-based learning and cultural immersion. And so we have a great community partner on the ground, Girls Inc., and they have a goal, which is to create and raise strong, bold, and confident girls. And so Duke, we collaborate with an already existing program that's wonderful, and we just provide additional resources to them. And the Duke students I work with, they'll create their own lesson plans related to STEM, and then implement that in the ground over an 8-week summer camp program in California. Additionally, I work with the Bass Connections program here at Duke, and they have a similar model where they are trying to educate, but through vertical integration. So what we do is we work with multiple learner levels in the classroom, and so that's pretty difficult for a teacher because you are working with faculty, staff, professional students, and undergraduates, and you're having them learn in the same classroom. And so it's pretty challenging, but it's also very rewarding. So those are the 2 programs that I run here at Duke. The Bass Connections program is local here in Durham, but also in Peru. And what we're trying to do is use one of the devices that we've developed in our lab and determine what are the barriers to market adoption in the US, but then also in Peru, where there's a need in cervical cancer. So I'm very thankful to be here today. I hope you all have a lot of wonderful questions, and I'm happy to talk more about the programs that I run, about being a parent to both a daughter and a son, and what that means for how I'm trying to raise them confidently. So I'm looking forward to hearing you all. Thank you.
Awesome job, Marlee. Just want to let you know. Hi, everyone. Good morning. First off, I want to thank you all for all coming, as Marlee said, on your Saturday morning. My name is Logan, and I am a current freshman rising sophomore at UNC Chapel Hill studying biochemistry. Thank you. Thank you. So, just to begin, this is the start of how to get a girl in STEM if your daughter's not already in STEM. Programs like these are how I got into STEM. And just a little bit about myself. I am from Spartanburg, South Carolina, and much of the work that I do is out of South Carolina. Excuse me, I'm sorry. So I created my own organization through the Obama Foundation, and it's called Getting Girls into STEM. So this program is a service-based project ran by myself, and I am currently working on getting girls in STEM by hosting hands-on activities mixed with panel discussions so that girls can be able to have an environment where they're enriched and being able to immerse themselves in STEM as well. I also do research in cervical.
It's allergy season.
Yes, it's definitely allergy season, so I'm so sorry. So like I said, I also do research in cervical cancer. When I was in 11th grade, I had the unique opportunity to partner with a local hospital in Spartanburg, South Carolina, where I was able to conduct research in cervical cancer in regards to African American women. And that being said, also, while I was in high school, I was the only African American girl to graduate with a STEM diploma and honors cord. So if you have any... Thank you. So if you have any questions in regards to how to get your young lady involved in STEM at an early age so that they can progress strongly through high school and now into college, I am happy to answer. If you have any additional questions, please refer them to all of us. Thank you so much.
So we will take questions. If anyone has questions right away, excellent. I was going to have my canned ones to kick off, but thank you.
Hi, my name is Monique Harris. I have a daughter who's 12 years old. This is her first year in middle school. And I've always been concerned about middle school. I wanted her in an all-girls middle school because I wanted her to continue her confidence. What's always happened in elementary school is, oh, Nadia's great. She's really nice. She's a good friend. She's a leader. This year, during my teacher-parent conferences, Nadia's really sweet. She's quiet. And I'm like, this has never happened before. I do understand that this is part of her transitions, but I want her continuing being a leader. Nadia also works hard. I appreciate that too. Always heard that. But sweet comes up first. Any suggestions?
So you tell her to be more obnoxious for that. Suggestions?
Thank you for sharing that. I think the most important suggestion that I would have for you is to first empathize, because I don't know that, do you understand why she feels that way or why she's changed her actions? Because the best thing you can do as a parent is really listen deeply. And maybe it is a transitional phase, but maybe she doesn't want to be a leader. And so that's something that you may have to come to terms with, but maybe it's also just transitioning to a new school. So I think my recommendation is empathize and listen deeply and really have those conversations with her when she feels comfortable talking to you and sharing what she's going through in school. And then when you have more information about possible reasons why or how she's feeling, then I think you can help guide her to be a leader if that's what she wants, but she may just need a little bit more support. So my recommendation would be to listen deeply and empathize.
Similarly, My recommendation would be to offer support and comfort. Personally, when I transitioned from middle school, I experienced the same issue. I fell behind in class. I always wanted others to lead and I just followed. And the best recommendation I can say is to make sure that you're always encouraging her to be the best person that she can be, rather than just her peers, and showing her positive figures in your community and in the space, and showing her that she can be that awesome girl too.
Can I just
Yes, please.
there's a big difference in the student population between an elementary school and a middle school. And this may be teacher perception, that thank God there's a kid who listens to what I say. So what she describes as sweet might also have been what your elementary teacher was like, wow, she gets the routines and she follows, what I'm asking her to do. You feel like it's teacher perception, or you feel like it's a change in personality?
The personality's always been there. And then kindergarten and first grade, she didn't always like being a leader because there was a lot of pressure. I felt like the teachers needed to step up a little more. But also, all of her friends went to one school. She's in a new school. She's met great friends. I love her friend group. But, yeah, and maybe the friends that she has has also changed too, because the other friends kind of needed taken care of and they looked to her. So, I don't know. I'm just noticing this difference. I'm not sure what it means. I love the leader part.
I have a suggestion.
Yes.
I feel that this whole thing about STEM is something that's new, and it's very important for us because we know the opportunities our children will have, possibly. I feel like the reason she might feel like that is because a lot of kids, the girls don't go into the field, it's very new, and teens are always trying to fit in with everybody else. So I find that although I'm someone that we do coding, all sorts of different things, and I know my daughter's friends don't do that, so she tells me, Mom, don't tell anybody, because she doesn't really want to be asked, and it's new, and they don't really know, sixth graders don't know what this is. So I find that it's new to them, and they're going to have to explain it to other people, and us adults, we understand, but they don't. So I think they're just trying to fit in, and if it doesn't fit in with the moment, they don't really want to be an outside, because you're still, trying to follow along with everybody else. So maybe let her guide her path, and eventually, what I tell my daughter is, I understand I take you to these events, and it might be something you don't know, but these are experiences that maybe you will know when you're 21 and you might need. So maybe if you don't want to do this, maybe go back to something that you learned when you were in middle school or in high school, and the opportunities only come one time. So this is just like, I go home and I cook. I don't love to cook, but I have to cook, so there's things that you have to learn just to build up your resume. So I kind of guide her that way. So then she's like, okay, Mom, I understand. I said, yeah, in life, you don't always do everything you want to do, but if it's going to help you in the long run, you got to take the opportunity. So maybe it's just her not wanting to tell other people just so she feels like she can fit in with the others.
Question in the back. Do you have a mic share?
Sure. So I would like the panelists and anybody else in here that is in the sciences to address how you are coaching your mentees and how you recommend we coach young women about the biases that are still endemic in the sciences. How are you preparing women for the fact that they're going to be perceived differently when they're assertive? What kind of advice are you giving your undergrads and graduate students?
Great question, thank you. The girls that I work with are between elementary and middle school, and I find that there is when the bias and the systemic issues can arise. Once I spoke with a girl back in October at my session, and she just told me that she doesn't feel comfortable asking questions in class. And I asked her why, and she said because she's the only one that thinks like she does. And I was like, okay. So right there, I can already depict and see where she is isolated in the classroom. So what I recommended to her is that she makes her voice. I feel as though when I was in middle school and elementary school, I was a assertive young lady. So it's important that parents, that you also follow up with that assertiveness, that you advocate to the teachers and to the professionals that are around your daughters, and to show them that you not only care about their education, but you're active in their education. That's one thing that my mom was pivotal in while I was a middle school girl in science. And just making sure that you're always up on what they're doing and making sure that the teachers are being respectful in the classroom.
That's fine. I think what I can add to what Maya has said is I try to tell both my own children and then the students with whom I work that your self-worth isn't derived from someone else's opinion of you. And someone may have an opinion that they don't know is incorrect or could be biased. And so I also encourage the listening and open communication so you can understand why someone may think, well, you're bossy instead of a leader. So I think, one, even telling myself, my self-worth is not derived from how successful people think I am or the community activism that I do. I tell myself that and I tell everyone that I work with that. And it's learned. You have to sometimes push those feelings down and know maybe you're not an imposter. Imposter syndrome is something that we all deal with. Maybe women do more so than men, but you have to realize your accomplishments, know that what you can do is possible, your dreams are possible. And so what we do in the programs we run is we specifically focus on STEM because we want students to know, particularly young women, that STEM is not just for an elite group of individuals. It's not just for men, even those are traditionally male-dominated fields. We pick STEM because of those perceptions, and we let girls know that they can do it with the right materials, with the right motivation, with the right teacher. You can do STEM, and if you don't pursue a STEM career, that's okay. But we want you to know that STEM is not just for a special group of people, it's actually for everyone, and that's why our programs focus on STEM, just to increase that confidence by choosing a topic that sometimes girls are afraid to pursue or speak up or be leaders on.
I just want to check, how many people have heard of imposter syndrome? So a bunch, but a bunch have not. So let me just say something about that. So imposter syndrome is a well-studied phenomenon where people who are successful think, I'm only successful because they don't really know the real me. One of these days they're going to figure out that I don't know what I'm talking about and that I don't belong here, and it's much more pervasive in women than in men. I went to an amazing talk about it when I was in grad school at Stanford, where she mentioned, I guess we have mostly moms, some dads. How many former Boy Scouts do we have here? Any former Boy Scouts? Okay, do you remember the Boy Scout pledge or whatever it is? It's basically, I promise to do X, Y, Z, is sort of the gist of it. And then former Girl Scouts, or current Girl Scouts here, on the pledge in Girl Scouts, it's on my honor, I will try. It's I will try. It's, men is, I will do this. And women is, I will try. And so there's this sort of like difference in the way, I mean, we all know this is why we're here. There's this difference in the way we treat girls, we talk to girls. And so starting from an early age, and I think that it's improving. I've worked with some second graders this year, and they don't know yet that there's, the girls have any stigma here. And so I think that we need to start early, and we can do that. But for the ones that are older, just treating them like, of course you can go into STEM. Of course this is it. And I think your point is true that there are biases, and they will be perceived differently. I'm a big fan, despite some of the issues of the book Lean In. There's some issues with it, and there's some legitimate complaints or criticisms of it, but the general knowledge of how women and men are perceived differently, and that you can tweak your behavior to understand that and yet get around it. And I'm happy to talk offline about that with people. Okay, additional questions?
So I think my question is how to deal with supporting our child when they have to face sexism, basically. So my daughter is at a high school with 4 biology teachers, and thank goodness she has a good one, who is a woman, But one of them, her friend was telling her, said to her that, why do women get too much maternity leave in this country? And that's a good reason for the wage gap, because they spend so much time on maternity leave, they shouldn't get paid as much as men. Now, fortunately, I think my daughter had the right attitude about this, and I hope she supported her friend, but how do we, at what point do we intervene, and what point, how do we support this, and let's support our girls? It was just an awful thing to hear.
So there's an awful lot of incidents like this. When we start hearing about them, how do we talk to our girls about them and what it means, right? Because I'm starting to get them little by little.
I'll go first if that's okay. So first, I always tell my kids to question everything. And what that means for me is if someone tells you something, if it's an adult, an educator, don't just believe it as fact. You've got to do your own due diligence to see if there is any merit to what they're saying. So it could be fact that women seek more parental leave than men do, but I would encourage your daughter to look into that so she's knowledgeable and can actually speak eloquently on the subject with information and facts. So I think it's really difficult to not be defensive when you disagree with a statement. And so like I said in the beginning, any communication always starts with deep listening and empathy. And so understanding why someone might say that, why does this person say this to me? And then being able to say, look, I've looked into this actually isn't true, or here's supporting evidence about how you can reconsider or consider someone else's opinion. So again, it's listening, empathy, and have them look into that subject matter. Just like in politics, don't just choose a party because you want to blindly follow that party. Really look into what are they doing, what do they stand for. Do your own due diligence. And so I like to tell my kids, they need to come up with their own opinions. I can have my opinions, but those do not need to be your opinions. So just because either I go to church or don't go to church, you look into what you want to do, and I will help support you. But you've got to do the due diligence and figure out why you want to do this. Does that make sense? Maya, do you have anything?
And to add to what Marlee said, challenge. Take the challenge of also doing your own research so that you can be able to educate your daughter in a stance that she can be able to challenge the statements that teachers and professionals are saying. There's plenty of instances in the real world where she will have to challenge and be assertive of where her own ideas have to become evident. So it's good at this age to go ahead and teach her how to challenge and speak up for herself and have her own voice. And definitely making her exposed to all of these issues at an early age can be able to, it might be overwhelming, it is overwhelming, but being able to already have exposure and challenge to it can already have her a defensive force against it when she comes against it later on in life, and just offering that knowledge already early on.
I would just, I guess, echo and add to those that I think talking about it at home, I mean, it's unfortunate that she was exposed to this, and I can imagine it'd be really frustrating and discouraging, but it's great that she raised it and told you, and it gives an opportunity to have these conversations at home, to think these things out, to ask the questions and sort of puzzle through it. And like, my mom and I have had these conversations for the last 10 years or something. I'm like, Larry Summers says women are less good at math. What do we do with that? You know, he was the head of Harvard at the time. Because then they can form their opinions and have more confidence in it when they discuss it with friends. And it's the next generation, and they can start forming their own opinions and taking it forward.
I think, good morning, the other thing to add is that you guys, everyone here, is part of a change. It's a change that's happening now with society adjusting some of the norms by which it used to operate to what the world now looks like. And education is one of the driving force changing all of that. And yes, you're gonna have probably the majority of people who don't understand that. And so when you're in this kind of situation, you gotta educate your kids that, yes, not everybody's gonna agree with you, not everybody sees things the way you do, but like the panel just pointed out, it's okay to be somewhat different. And when you bring your kids to a forum like this, they might be in school in a class where they felt they were the only one. You know, they show up and they see another 200 kids. You're not alone. And so it's giving them that self-confidence to be able to stand on what they want, what drives them, and do support them with that. And the statement like that, I started working on close to 20 years ago. And I can admit, when I showed hers at work, and I heard we were pregnant. Men don't get pregnant. Yes, your wife is pregnant, so you are pregnant. But there was no time for that. There was no extra time off of work. Now, close to 20 years later, males at my job do get time off of work as well. And so those things take more time to get into society, but it's one of the things just to encourage your child that you're a part of the change, and you have to become confident in what you're doing to help make the change.
It's really important. Question over there? Tom? I'm gonna wait for my. This is why they play music in, is it Wheel of Fortune?
Can you hear me? Okay. I guess one observation I have about my daughter in STEM is that she has started to equate being in STEM with like having great grades. And I think that that's something for us to consider as a STEM support group is like, she really likes science, but if she doesn't get good grades, she's like, oh, I don't belong here. And I think that's really an easy message for girls to get. And so when she sees these STEM groups, one of the things that I have to push her on is that she thinks this is like a LEAP program or like for gifted kids. And I think we have to acknowledge that like some of the kids who are here today are, superstars, gonna go all the way, but there's also girls who just like science and want to be good at it, but if they're, I don't know if I'm making myself clear, but like making a space for girls to not be the superstar, high achiever in high school who just likes science. Yes. So it's something to consider too, and I think sometimes these programs, like Betty looks at it and she's like, that's not for me. And I have to be like, it is for you, like, you like science, and she's like, no, it's for the kids who are like really good at it. So I think it's just a space to make. That's my comment.
Can I say something about that? Because it goes back to what you were saying for.
Thank you. It goes back to what you were saying about lean in. And one of the things when I read lean in, it was talking about men and women and how they go out for jobs. A woman will go out for a job, she will make sure that she checks off every single job description. I can do that and I can do that, not only well, but exceptionally well. And then they said for the men, oh, there's 20 things that they want. I can do 5 of those. I'm going for that job interview. And they go in and they feel confident. And women, we always want to make sure that we're really perfect. So this is the same thing playing out on a kid level. And it's the same thing of just acknowledging it, knowing it. And I'm hearing you. I'm thinking, my daughter loves science too. She hasn't gotten to that point where she thinks it's for other people, but it's possible. And so I need to start having those conversations with her that you can have A's, you can have C's, and you can be like those men who walk into a room and think they got it.
One other thing I would add is just that the science, it really helps you think about how to think about the world. So you don't have to be an engineer, you don't have to be a rocket scientist, but it's going to change doing it, even if it doesn't become your career. It helps you to think and critically question the world. I see a hand there, but I think I saw one here before.
With reference to that bias that we talked about, I think I'd like to pose a question to all of us about how are we raising our boys? Because the biases start when we're very young, and really addressing those at that time, having those moments. I have two girls, obviously, and I grew up with boys and I have brothers. But I wanted to really think about, especially this Me Too movement time, it is important for us to look at how are we raising our boys. It's a question that we need to have, and really not only a question, but have some answers that are going to be so good for them and us, because this is the world of 50-50. So what's the other 50% doing at the very beginning when they're only 2, when they're 5, and they keep on progressing? So just wanted to add this piece to all of us so we can think about it, because I'm sure we have some parents that have boys, and so it's a good way for us to think, or young men that have sisters that they need to be thinking differently.
We only have about 1 minute left. Maybe 2 last comments.
My comment is to remember that when you're talking with your girls and your boys, that whenever you're trying to do something and trying to do something new, you are not going to be an expert, you're not going to be perfect. Everything you do is a skill, and skills require practice and dedication to get better at it. So they don't have to be perfect, they don't have to be the best, but the people who put in the effort and the time to learn and get better are going to succeed. And so giving them the opportunity to know that they need to keep moving forward and keep pushing and keep trying is really important.
And I want to say we're running out of time here, but we will have 2 more panels with some overlapping discussions. So if you have comments, you'll be able to put them in.
I just want to say that the general subject here is confidence with girls. And I think we all got to, first of all, understand that every one of us in this room is better than the average person at least one thing. And we have to believe that there are people that are better than the average person on a lot of fronts. But everybody is better than the average person at something. And your child needs to identify, you need to help that child identify what it is that they're better than the average person at. And you start with that, because otherwise you need an example to fortify your confidence. You can't just say, I'm good.
Good enough, you're smart enough.
You gotta point to something inside of you and say, I am good at cooking breakfast. I don't, whatever it is. It could be as simple as that. For me, it was as simple as I can catch more fish than boys that can play football and basketball. Okay?
Yep.
I don't have to be good at basketball, because I can catch more fish than yeah. But anyway, so help your child find something that they're good at, and not just this, but better than the average child that they know. And then use that as a basis to feel better, and that gives them confidence.
I think that is a
Fantastic comment to end this session on, to build that confidence. Thank you all, and I think, do we go straight into the next one?
Yep.
Okay, and then we'll have a break after the second.